This is not a how-to video. Okay, now on with the video. Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. So this time I have a tripod, but as you guys can tell, it's like shaking around all by itself. So I'm gonna try to stand as still as possible and hope that the wind doesn't mess up the audio. Today, we're doing a compression test on my Z. I just realized that I haven't been doing the compression tests properly. I've done 2 of them so far and they've read about 120 PSI. So that's really low for these cars. I didn't realize that until now. It should be reading around 150, and I realized that I was doing the compression test wrong. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start the car, roll it out so that the exhaust gases don't gas me out, and then I'll show you guys what we're doing. Alright, so hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad, but basically what I'm waiting for is the car to get up to operating temperature, which it's at. It's been a couple minutes, so I'm just gonna wait a few more minutes, wait for the oil temperature to drop a little, or the oil pressure to drop a little bit. Normally it stays in around the 5 to 10 PSI range, as far as it looks at least. It should be around 15 though. But shout out to... So I actually went and read the FSM, the factory service manual for this car. So it's a 2007 350Z. Unfortunately, it's not an Nismo. I wish it was, but it's an enthusiast. So I get a couple of extra perks like traction control, and I think that's pretty much it. But so I read the FSM, and it says that it should be around 145 at the lowest for compression. So what I was doing wrong was that I didn't have the accelerator completely to the floor. I didn't realize that that's what you were supposed to be doing. So the last 2 times I did it, the accelerator wasn't pushed down. So I was reading 120 PSI, give or take like 120, 124, 23, 25 on all the different cylinders. So hopefully when I do it this time, I get healthier numbers. If not, then probably got to do an engine swap or just do a rebuild. However, a rebuild ends up being way more money than you think it would be. It's around $5,000, I think, to do a rebuild on this car from Unique Motorsports. I talked to George over there, and it's about $5,000, around $4,900, and then it costs even more at the dealer. So probably just going to do an engine swap and hope it doesn't have rod knock or something like that. Okay, so the car's been sitting for a few more minutes. It's been about 2 or 3 minutes since I started recording, so we're gonna go ahead, pull it back in, and then maybe close the garage halfway so there's no wind noise, and hopefully like the brightness doesn't get messed up on the video. And then I'll show you guys what you need to take apart in order to do a compression test. So let's get this car back inside. Probably good enough. Roll the windows down. So here we have our standard VQ35HR. Okay. So obviously this one has 2 intake air boxes versus the single that's on this side on a DE or a rev up. So basically doing a compression test is pretty easy. You just need to remove these intakes and then remove maybe these plastics because they end up being in the way, and then pull out the coil packs, which are right here. There's 3 of them bolted down, 10mm bolts on those, 10mm bolt right here and right here on the intakes, and then you got hose clamps right here and up top. I do believe that you have to move this throttle body out of the way. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it has 32 T torque spits, might be something like that. And then those throttle bodies come off. However, you do not want to unplug them, because then you have to go through this entire process of redoing all of the like the engine relearn for idle air. So I'm gonna get right to it. You may have to remove the strut bar. I only have like 2 bolts on each one because they're all stripped, but it should be maybe a 1 hour job, 2 hour job. You also have to remove spark plugs, so make sure you have I think it's a 14 mil on this car for a deep socket. In order to take those out, make sure you don't, make sure you use a torque wrench or you do it properly, because I actually broke a spark plug inside my block. So I'm gonna set you guys up for a time lapse and then we'll get started. Alright, so as you guys saw, everything's completely torn apart. So I got towels and put them over all of the holes. And I bolted in both of the throttle bodies just a little, I put in 2 bolts and bolted them down. The bolts for this ended up being a T30, as you guys can see. It fits in pretty snug and then works pretty well. Sorry if I'm out of breath. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all of the coil packs, get those out of the way, get all the spark plugs out of the way, because we're about to fire the engine. So we don't want anything near moving parts. So if you guys don't have a fuel pump cutoff switch, the fuel pump fuse is right back here. So what you need to do is you need to pull out all of these like trim pieces, pull this plastic piece off, and then this piece will come off, and then this piece should slide up and out. Then that plastic piece, you can pick it up and then fuse. I believe it's a 20 amp fuse that goes in that box, but it should be on your FSM. If it's not in this one, so don't even try. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get in the car. Also, this is the compression test kit that I have. You know, a cheap little Harbor Freight one. It's like 20 bucks or something like that. And it has the fitting that we need. I know that from experience. So now we're gonna come back over here, grab my keys. All right, hop in the car. So as you guys saw, I did put a battery charger on there just to make sure that the battery wouldn't get starved. So the fuel pump did not prime, so that means we're good. So I'm gonna crank it like 2 or 3 times, see what happens. Fuel should squirt out, hopefully. Don't want to put too much stress on the starter, but as you guys can see, engine's getting a little bit cold, so hopefully it's still warm. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over here. Also, sorry again about the mess. Still haven't cleaned this area of the garage, so that car's still outside, but work in progress. So come over here and grab our compression test kit. And then to set it up is pretty easy. You take your little compression gauge, you attach it to this piece like so. You push that down, shove it in, and then I believe it's this one. Let's find out real quick. So what you do is grab a spark plug. So we have one of our spark plugs. I believe this is from bay 1 or cylinder 1, my bad. Kind of line them up like that, see if they fit. And this one looks like it's going to be a good fit, so that's the one we're going to use. So just plop that back over there. So let me assemble this and then we'll thread it in real quick, and then I'll give you guys a time lapse. Or you know what, I'll show you guys what the compressions are. Okay, so I misspoke. We actually need to use the second smallest one, which is the second from the top. Or you could use one of these, but I prefer using one of the fittings because they fit properly and they have O-rings. So we have it set up and in cylinder 1. So what you do is you just press this button and then you set it up so that you can see it. So I place it about something like that so that I can see it from inside the car. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop inside. So the FSM says to completely depress the gas pedal. So that means put it to the floor. So we're gonna put it to the floor. You guys probably didn't hear it, but now we're gonna go. We're gonna do it 5 to 6 times each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, let's hope that was enough. Now let's check our compression reading. 121, I mean, it's still in the green range, but for these cars, it's supposed to be around 180. So we're gonna hop over to cylinder 2, or cylinder 3, my apologies, and then try it again. If we get the same reading, then I'm gonna know that it's basically gonna be the same for all 6 cylinders. So let me try this cylinder one more time. Hopefully it won't get knocked over if I put it somewhere else. Hopefully like over there. Hopefully it won't fall over as soon as I start cranking. Go to the floor, crank. Nope, nothing. So cylinder 1. Okay, so cylinder 1 has about 125 PSI of compression, which is way under what it should be. Then again, it is a Harbor Freight kit, so it's not known to be the most accurate. So what I'm gonna do is maybe try using one of the rubber fitting ones and see how that works. But it's not looking good right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect it from here, try that gauge. I'm gonna check with my records and see what the PSI or what the compression was on the original cylinder back when I had it, back when I tested it 4 or 5 months ago. So a quick check of the notes, and it was 122, sorry, PSI of compression. So that means I am higher on compression, but then that means that all of my cylinders are low on compression. So that's not a very good thing. So I'm gonna look a little more into it, see what most guys get. All right, since that was a catastrophic fail, I decided to go ahead and put a little bit of oil inside of the spark plug hole to see if it's a worn piston ring. So gas pedal to the floor. Let me see if I can zoom in a little for you guys. Not moving anymore. Let's check it out. A little more than 140. So, could be piston ring wear, might not be. I'm gonna go ahead and try cylinder 2, see how that one turns out, or cylinder 3, sorry, and then I will get back to you guys. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes since I picked up the camera. So what I did was I reassembled almost everything. I didn't put the bolts on the coil packs, I just plugged them in, put the spark plugs back in, plugged the MAFs back in, and then got the intakes back on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the car, hopefully keep it running until it gets back to operating temperature, because I think that's what's throwing off all of the measurements. So I'm gonna do that. Hopefully it warms up as much as I need it to. Might give it a few revs here and there just so that it like gets hot and then stays hot. Because the block is pretty cold now. Like obviously the intake manifold's not gonna be too hot, but the entire block is pretty freaking cold. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start it up, let it idle, take everything apart, and then start the compression test again. So I might just tell you guys what the last compression is, just so that I can get them all done in a good amount of time without having to pick up the camera. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, and then I will get back to you guys. All right, ladies and gents, I have some bad news. So this reads a little less than 150, so I wrote it down as like 148 or so, maybe 149, but believe it or not, this is the highest that I got, and this was on cylinder 6. So technically I should be right here. 180 is healthy, 145 to 180. 120 you should really be considering a rebuild. So I will post a screenshot of all of the compressions in order. So the first set of them is what I did with the throttle bodies off with no gas pedal depressed. And then the second set is the gas pedal depressed and the throttle bodies on the intake manifold. So looking kind of low, so I guess probably need to do a rebuild eventually, maybe sooner than I thought. Or maybe I can just buy a salvage car and just swap in the motor and the trans, because I want to go 6-speed because this transmission is not going to last. It's already slipping. So I'm just going to put everything back together now. I'm not going to bore you guys with that. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and a comment. Make sure you leave a comment. Let me know if this worked for you, if you guys did something like this and had similar results, because I have no idea. I just read from the FSM. Some people are reporting lower compressions, some people are reporting. Make sure you guys subscribe as well. Turn on that bell so that you guys are notified when I upload, because I don't do this too often. And I kind of just needed something to do, so I decided to just recompression test my car. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go now. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Hopefully it's something interesting.